Logan is a 2017 action superhero movie directed by James Mangold and starring Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart and Dafne. And this is going to be the last time that Hugh Jackman is going to portray Wolverine on screen. And I grew up with those movies. Ever since the first one came out in the year 2000, I've watched every single one of them, most of them at home, not in the cinema, but I was really looking forward to this movie for a multitude of reasons. Of course, as I've already said, it's the last time that we're going to see Hugh Jackman play Logan the Wolverine, and also because the movie is rated R. And at first, once I heard this, I was like, okay, just because they had Deadpool, the studio decided to push the R rating just a little bit, and I thought they were going to be violent but not too much. But then the movie started, and after the first 5 minutes, yeah, this is a hard R movie. It's in terms of violence, it's brutal, it's unflinching, you see everything on screen, there's blood spurting everywhere, limbs are cut off, heads are decapitated, heads are blown off as well. It was gory. I did not expect it to be as violent as it was, and it was honestly kind of refreshing and satisfying in a weird way. But also this movie is pretty much a modern western, which is pretty much just taking themes of western movies and putting them in a more modern environment. And this is pretty similar to movies like Unforgiven or The Old Shane, which is also referenced in the movie. And boy, Logan is old. He's very, very old. Now he's a limo driver, most mutants are dead because of a multitude of reasons. And also Professor Xavier is pretty much going insane, he's just 90 years old, he's pretty decrepit, he almost has Alzheimer's disease. It's sad watching those characters that you grew up loving just being broken and destroyed. But then one day there is just a little bit of hope. This little girl called Laura, she doesn't speak much, she looks pretty similar to Wolverine in a multitude of ways, and Logan has to save her, has to bring her over the border, and they have to go to Canada. And now we have a road trip with Logan, Xavier and Laura trying to escape from the US and from an army of mercenaries who are trying to capture this little girl. And this movie goes to some pretty great places, and in my opinion there are just 3 types, more or less, of superhero movies. The trashy ones like Punisher Warzone or Kick-Ass, the more comedic, lighter ones with some drama elements like the Marvel Universe movies, like Guardians of the Galaxy or the Captain America ones, and then you have these serious, mature-toned movies like Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy and now Logan. Logan is the best X-Men movie probably of all time right now, even though I love most of the other ones, especially 2 and the Days of Future Past. This one was incredible. It just felt great to watch. It felt like a real movie. And I watched it with a friend who has not seen any other X-Men movie except for Deadpool, so it doesn't really count as an X-Men fan. He doesn't really enjoy superhero movies, and he kind of loved this one. And he said, wow, I don't like superhero movies, but I really dug this one. That's because this movie, as I've already said, it's not as much about giant beams in the sky, killer clouds, or trying to destroy the world. It's a more human story, it's a focused movie. Even though it's 2 hours and 20 minutes long, it does not feel like it, except for maybe just one sequence during the 3rd act before the final climax that dragged a little bit. For the most part, it's a very smooth experience that focuses quite a lot on the character of Logan. And as I've already said, thanks to the R rating, there is a lot of swearing, cursing, violence, blood, and that's usually not enough for a movie to be mature, but this one felt mature more through the dialogue than the actual use of violence. And the violence itself is not exploitative, it was actually kind of disturbing for the most part, and it worked perfectly for what the movie was going for. And James Mangold also made The Wolverine in 2013. That one was a pretty decent Wolverine movie, except for the 3rd act, which just completely fell apart with the giant samurai robot. It was weird, truly weird. But in this movie you don't have a giant fighting robot, you don't have weird ass twists that don't make sense. Everything that happens in this movie makes sense. you care about the characters because you've grown up with them, but also because they're well used in this movie, because my friend who did not know anything about Wolverine actually cared about him by the end of the movie. That's because Hugh Jackman is the Wolverine, and he will always be him. And also, this movie looks amazing. It also looks kind of like a western. There are these huge, desolated landscapes, wide shots, panoramic shots, long takes during the action sequences. It's just very well shot, and the music is pretty good as well in a couple of sequences, even though it doesn't really take over, which I did appreciate. There are a lot of quiet moments in this movie, character moments. And with the great action sequences, then to have only great character moments, this was just a great experience overall, and I do recommend that you check it out immediately. It's refreshing, and honestly, I hope there are going to be more mature movies, but not movies that copy this one, so no extreme violence just for the sake of it. The other movies should focus more on the characters themselves, because that is not happening all that much. And honestly, you might say whatever you want, but at least Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman did try to focus on the characters. If you liked it or disliked it, whatever, but it still had a lot of character moments, good or bad, that you want. But other movies like The Avengers, Captain America, they have a couple of character moments, but then they have to have these huge fight sequences filled with CGI. Honestly, I loved the more practical effects heavy use in this movie. This movie looked like something made with $20 million, and that's a great compliment because it looks amazing. It looks like it didn't have that big of a budget, even though it was over 100 million if I'm not mistaken. And it just felt more serious, more like watching again Hell or High Water or No Country for Old Men. These types of modern westerns, this type of action movies that are just, as I've already said, full of character moments. So I highly recommend that you go watch Logan right now. It is the first great movie of 2017 that I've seen, so I still have to see John Wick, Get Out and other great movies, or Split, whatever. Still have to check these ones out, but for all the movies that I've seen in 2017, this is easily the best one so far. But still, guys, have you seen Logan? What do you think about it? Tell me in the comments below, and also tell me what are your thoughts of Hugh Jackman leaving the character of Wolverine. Tell me everything in the comments below. Thanks as always for watching, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.